Hello and good afternoon. This is an official welcome to my program, Insights with Jay, and I will be your host. My name is Jachi Ngoka, and I am a student of the Mass Communication Department in the University of Lagos. Insight with Jay is an interesting, in depth program that talks about topics ranging from history to entertainment to educational topics to relationship topics, to spirituality, to campus conversations, and many more. Without further ado, today's topic is Michael Jordan, the king of pop. Michael was a phenomenal, great entertainer while he was alive, which is why we will talk about the world's greatest king of pop, Michael Jackson. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Who was Michael Jackson? Known as the King of Pop, Michael Jackson was a best selling American singer, songwriter, and dancer. As a child, Jackson became the lead singer of his family's popular Motown group, the Jackson 5. He went on to a solo career of astonishing worldwide success, delivering number one hits from the albums Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. In his later years, Jackson was dogged by allegations of child molestation. He died in 2009 at age 50 of a drug overdose just before launching a comeback tour. Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958 in Gary, Indiana. Under his father's encouragement, Jackson's career in music began at the age of 5. Jackson's mother, Katherine Jackson, was a homemaker and a devout Jehovah's Witness. His father, Joseph Jackson, had been a guitarist who put aside his musical aspirations to provide for his family as a crane operator. Behind the scenes, Joseph pushed his sons to succeed. He was also reportedly known to become violent with them. Michael Jackson was one of 10 children. 9 Jackson siblings, including Rebby, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Latoya, Marlon, Randy, and Janet, all made marks in the music industry. Joseph Jackson believed his sons had talent and molded them into a musical group in the early 1960s that would later become known as the Jackson 5. At first, the Jackson family performers consisted of Jackson's older brothers, Tito, Jermaine, and Jackie. Jackson joined his siblings when he was 5 years old and emerged as the group's lead vocalist. He showed remarkable range and depth for such a young performer, impressing audiences with his ability to convey complex emotions. Older brother Malone also became a member of the group, which evolved into the Jackson 5. Jackson and his brothers spent endless hours rehearsing and polishing their act. At first, the Jackson 5 played local gigs and built a strong following. They recorded one single on their own, Big Boy, with the B-side, You've Changed, but the record failed to generate much interest. The Jackson 5 moved on to working as the opening act for such R&B artists as Gladys Knight and the Peeps, James Brown, and Sam and Dave. Many of these performers were signed to the legendary Motown record label, and the Jackson 5 eventually caught the attention of Motown founder Berry Gordy. Impressed by the group, Gordy signed them to his label in the early 1969. Jackson and his brothers moved to Los Angeles, where they lived with Gordy and with Diana Ross of the Supremes as they got settled. The Jackson 5 was introduced to the music industry at a special event in August 1969, and the group later opened for the Supremes. Their first album, Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5, hit the charts in December 1969 with its single, I Want You Back, reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart shortly afterward. More chart-topping singles quickly followed, such as ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There. For several years, Jackson and the Jackson 5 maintained a busy tour and recording schedule under the supervision of Gordy and his Motown staff. The group became so popular that they even had their own self-titled cartoon show, which ran from 1971 to 1972. At the same time, Jackson launched his solo career. Despite the group's great success, there was trouble brewing behind the scenes. Tensions mounted between Gordy and Joseph Jackson over the management of his children's careers, with the Jacksons wanting more creative control over their material. The group officially severed ties with Motown in 1976, though Jermaine remained with the label to pursue his solo career. In 1983, Jackson embarked on his final tour with his brothers to support the album Victory. The one major hit from the recording was Jackson's duet with Mick Jagger, State of Shock. Some of Jackson's songs and albums include Got to Be There, 1971, Ben, 1972, Music and Me, 1973, Forever Michael, 1975, Off the Wall, 1979, Thriller, 1982, Bad, 1987, Dangerous, 1991, Invincible, 2001, Michael, 2010, and Escape, 2014. In August 1994, Michael Jackson announced that he had married Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of rock icon Elvis Presley. The couple gave a joint television interview with Diane Sawyer, but the union proved to be short-lived. They divorced in 1996. Some thought that the marriage was a publicity ploy to restore Jackson's image after child molestation allegations. Later that same year, Jackson wed nurse Debbie Rowe. The couple divorced in 1999. Jackson and Rowe had 2 children through artificial insemination. Son, Michael Joseph Prince Jackson Jr., born in 1997, and daughter, Paris Michael Catherine Jackson, born in 1998. When Rowe and Jackson divorced, Michael received full custody of their 2 children. Jackson would go on to have a 3rd child, Prince Michael Blanket Jackson II, with an unknown surrogate. After Jackson's death in June 2009, his children were placed in the care of their grandmother, Catherine, as dictated in his will. In respect to their father's wishes, Prince, Paris, and Blanket were largely kept out of the limelight. They stepped up to the mic in 2009 to speak to fans at their father's funeral, and again in January 2010 to accept a posthumous Lifetime Achievement Award for their father at the Grammys. Jackson was badly injured while filming a commercial for PepsiCo in 1984, suffering burns to his face and scalp. At the top of his game creatively and commercially, Jackson had signed a $5 million endorsement deal with the soda giant the previous year. Jackson had surgery to repair his injuries and is believed to have begun experimenting with plastic surgery around this time. His face, especially his nose, would become dramatically altered in the coming years. Around the late 1980s, rumors began swirling that Jackson was lightening the color of his skin to appear more white and sleeping in a special chamber to increase his lifespan. In 1993, Jackson agreed to a rare television interview with Oprah Winfrey to quell rumors. He explained that the change in his skin tone was the result of a skin condition known as vitiligo, and he opened up about the abuse he suffered from his father. Jackson died on June 25, 2009, at the age of 50 after suffering a cardiac arrest in his Los Angeles home. CPR attempts failed and he was rushed to the hospital, where he died later that morning. In February 2010, an official coroner's report revealed Jackson's cause of death was acute propofol intoxication, or a lethal overdose on a prescription drug cocktail including the sedatives midazolam, diazepam, and lidocaine. A police investigation revealed that Michael's personal physician, Conrad Murray, was not licensed to prescribe most controlled drugs in the state of California. The steps he had taken to save Jackson also came under scrutiny, as evidence showed that the standard of care for administering propofol had not been met, and the recommended equipment for patient monitoring, precision dosing, and resuscitation had not been present. As a result, Jackson's death was ruled a homicide. Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter on November 7, 2011, earning a maximum prison sentence of 4 years. Jackson's death resulted in an outpouring of public grief and sympathy. Memorials were erected around the world, including one at the arena where he was set to perform and another at his childhood home in Gary, Indiana. The Jackson family held a private funeral on September 3, 2009 at the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, for immediate family members and 200 guests. Celebrity mourners included Jackson's ex-wife Presley and actress Elizabeth Taylor. Since his death, Jackson has been profiled in multiple biographies and inspired the creation of 2 Cirque du Soleil shows. He was posthumously honored with the 2018 Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation Legacy Award for Humanitarian Service, with children Paris and Prince Michael accepting on his behalf. Additionally, the King of Pop proved to have earning power that lasted well past his final days. In October 2017, Forbes announced that Jackson had topped the publication's list of top earning dead celebrities for the 5th straight year, racking in a whopping $75 million. And now we have come to the end of today's program. I'm sure we all learned 1 or 2 things about the world's greatest king of pop, Michael Jackson. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. I remain your humble host, Jachi Ngoka, and this is Insight with Jay.